What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 60 of the Yard Podcast. I'm your host, Randy.
And I'm your host, Konu.
And today we do not have Ray with us. He will be adding on a little bit later. But very quickly, before we get into this, as always, we appreciate all of our new listeners. Please remember to hit that subscribe, follow button, whatever platform you're on. Leave us a rating and review. Hit us up on Twitter. Let us know what you think. Any feedback, it is always appreciated. But let's talk some baseball because that is why everyone is here. First off, tonight's game, the Dodgers 40-26 continue the series against the Phillies, who are 32-32 on the season. Urias will be taking the mound for the Dodgers official reopening day. One of my friends on Twitter, her name's Serena, but she goes by It's FedEx, had kind of made a cool little point that Urias had shut the World Series out for the Dodgers, and now he's going to be opening it up for the team for the first full capacity game at Dodger Stadium since that unfortunate NLDS Game 5 loss against the Nationals. So Urias having a pretty decent season, kind of it's been a little rough as the late ERA wise, but not a bad year at all. He is 9-2 with a 3.56 ERA, a 0.97 whip with 85 strikeouts to 11 walks. And they will be facing Zach Eflin over from Philadelphia, 2-5, 3.89 ERA, 1.23 whip with 75 strikeouts to 10 base on balls. Is there anything we should be looking at tonight for Eflin?
Mostly just he throws a lot of sinkers and sliders. Those are his two main pitches. Against lefties, he'll throw more four seams, and against righties, he'll throw like changeups and curveballs. But he usually uses all his arsenal, which is about 4 or 5 pitches. But for the most part, it's going to be heavy sinker, heavy slider. He's a ground ball pitcher. So if he's on, you'll see a lot of ground balls, and if he's not, you'll see a lot of hits in the gap. Let's hope for the latter.
Yeah, let's definitely hope for the latter. Last night's game, we didn't see a whole ton of offense. Luckily, it was just timely offense, and it worked. So hopefully we can kind of see him. I mean, it's tough when you don't have Bellinger, Muncy, or Seager in there, and you're still waiting for guys like Betts to heat up and McKinstry to find a swing again. It's bound to happen, but I did want to say, because we did our predictions last week, you are no longer allowed to be negative. I have decided because since our last recording, the team is 6-1, and that was your exact prediction.
Yeah.
I went 5-2 on the week. So we're going to have to be positive, and we're going to manifest the wins because we are currently 1 game out of second place. Last week we were in third place. Padres have kind of fallen off a bit since then. We are 10-3 in our last 10. Granted, didn't play a bunch of good teams, but who cares? Got to win the games that they're supposed to win, and that is
when they struggled. They didn't
play
play good teams either, and they still lost. So you got to take the wins when you can get them.
Yep, and that is what they are doing right now. And they have the second best run differential in baseball, still with plus 93, only behind the White Sox, who have a plus 103. So
White Sox?
Yeah, they're kind of doing what they're supposed to be doing right now. They should be winning games. They should probably have a few more games.
I mean, still no Eloy and Robert, so it's tough, but they're doing a good job.
Yeah, they're figuring it out.
Despite La Russa, who I know a lot of White Sox fans still hate.
Yeah. So, but the Dodgers, I mean, they're doing what they're supposed to do. The Pythagorean win-loss column on Baseball Reference is basically telling you what the team's record should be based on how well they've played. And the Dodgers are right where they should be. Pythagorean has them 42-24, and their record is 40-26. And this is based on like run differential. So really, they're kind of right where they're supposed to be. I feel like the Giants are just overperforming, and I don't know when that's going to stop. I thought it would stop by now, but clearly hasn't.
Second half.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking too, especially if the older vets, because I just don't know how sustainable it is for your older guys that are all showing out to continue doing it, especially coming off a 60-game season. It's kind of wild they've kept it up this long.
Wait, so they had them at would you say the record was supposed to be
42-24? The Dodgers 42-24.
They're 2 games off, which that's not bad at all.
No.
And imagine all those run losses they've had. If either just a few of them have went their way, they'd be looking a lot better.
Yeah, so they're right there. One of the better teams in baseball. It's not showing the way we would expect it to. We expect them to run through teams, and that hasn't happened since like that first week or two of the season. It's going to happen at some point. Team is too good. We've kind of been saying this all season long, every week. This team is too talented. So I will say when we went to Pittsburgh, I was a little bit worried, especially with that start with Gonsolin, but we're going to start obviously with the Buehler versus Brubaker start. Buehler just continues to do his damn thing. He picks up the win, 5-0, 7 innings pitched, 2 hits, 0 runs, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts on 93 pitches. What did you see from Bueller that you liked? And then I'll get into the offense a bit.
So I really actually did like what I saw from Bueller. He got the Pirates to chase a lot, and he was really hitting his spots pretty well. He really had that slider working. He didn't get any whiffs on the slider, which is a bit odd. But when he threw the slider, it generated weak contact, and obviously you'll take those. Only the 2 strikeouts, but again, the Pirates weren't killing the ball. So he did well. His spin rate has gone down like everybody else's. But interesting enough, the slider spin was up that game than usual. So pretty interesting there. But and this slider was definitely his best pitch, and it was again his next start. But we'll get into that later. But yeah, so Billy did a really good job. Also, good on Austin Barnes to catch Hayes missing first base.
Yeah,
because it looked like we were off to a rocky start, and I was like, how the hell did he hit that out? But yeah, thank you, Austin Barnes.
Yeah, so good on Austin Barnes on catching Ke'Bryan Hayes missing that tag at first base. Otherwise, it definitely would not have been a 7 innings pitch shutout appearance for Bueller. But hey, you know what? It's all about what the box score has to say, so we will take it. Yeah, the Dodgers didn't really get much going until the top of the 5th. Lux got it going on a 1-out base hit, and he advanced to third on the error.
They still have that rule they still have that rule as a single, right?
I believe so. Yeah, that's what I saw it as. I had it as a one.
It should have been a double, but it's fine because I mean he was running the whole way. He didn't stop any, but we'll take it.
Yeah. So I actually, I'll be honest, I didn't look back, so I don't know if they did change it. I just have my notes from when they initially called it a single. And then Pollock doubled him home, bringing home the first run of the game. Betts with that 2-out triple, and then Muncy, of course, doing what he did. We saw Taylor the next inning blast his 8th home run of the season to give the Dodgers a 5-0 lead, and that was really all they needed to get going. Kelly did come into pitch in the bottom of the 8th. He gave up a leadoff base hit and then a 2-out RBI double. Nate Jones came in the bottom of the 9th and gave up 2 home runs and made this game much closer than it needed to be, but the Dodgers did come out with the 5-3 win to take the first win against the Pirates. And then that second game, as we all knew, Tony Gonsolin was back. He was activated from the 60-day IL, and they placed Sasugo on the 10-day IL with a right calf strain. In order to make room on the 40-man roster, they also had to place Alexander on the 60-day IL, which is kind of a bummer. He was having a decent start to the year, and we could use the lefty arm. Definitely. But let's start with Gonsolin. Not a good first game back for him.
Didn't Santana get designated for assignment too?
Yeah, he did, but that was on Saturday. So yeah, that was not for Burns, but yes, Dennis Santana did. And as far as I know, he has yet to get claimed or have anything happen with that. So I think there's a decent chance he could end right back up with the Dodgers.
AAA, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. But let's get into Gonsolin, because this was not a very good first start back, which at the end of the day, it's not really a big deal. If only for the bullpen was really the concern. Like, we thought we were going to get out of these bullpen games, and unfortunately that is yet to be the case with Gonsolin. He went an inning and 2/3, gave up 2 hits, 1 run, 1 earned, but the issue was the walks. He had 5 of them and struck out 4 on 66 pitches. Clearly his command wasn't there.
So he had 0 command of anything except for the fastball. There was a point in time in the game where he struck out 3 in a row, and I was thinking, okay, this is going to get him going and find his groove. But then he walked 3 straight after that. I definitely did expect better from Gonsolin. I know he hadn't pitched in a while, but like, this isn't last year or the beginning of this year where there was no minor league games to rehab at. He had his rehab starts to continue to build up and to figure things out. And he was doing pretty well in those rehab games, so not sure what happened here. But now I wasn't expecting him to be the Tony Gonsolin of like last year or the year before that, where he just comes in and does great. But I was expecting better than what I've seen so far.
I will say, if I'm remembering correctly, I want to say he had kind of, not to make an excuse for him, but he had kind of mentioned the humidity in Pittsburgh kind of threw off the grip a little bit. And if he is someone who was using rosin or pine tar, he may have stopped doing that. He used a
shit ton of rosin. I saw it all on his arms.
Yeah. So I mean, every pitcher's going to have to deal with this, but coming into a big league game, your first one in quite some time, and
he was no longer chalk.
Yeah, no longer having, yeah, that's what he said. He said the ball was very hard to grip. It was
Yeah.
just all chalky. So no excuses for him. You got to figure it out. The rest of the league is going to be dealing with the same thing. Luckily, bullpen came in, was freaking fantastic because the offense didn't really care to show up outside Justin Turner, who had 2 home runs. That's literally the only runs the Dodgers scored.
Yeah.
Polanco's home run was the only run Gonsolin gave up. And luckily, the bullpen was just nails because they had Gonzalez, Price, Kelly, Trinan, and Jansen all come in and go 7 1/3 innings without giving up a run. And they actually the bullpen only gave up, I think it was 1 hit in that 7 1/3. So that was really impressive on there. And I feel
Yeah.
like the bullpen does not get enough credit for what they do sometimes. They are currently in 10th place, ERA wise, tied with the Red Sox in all of baseball with a 3.80 ERA. And I think we have to be honest here and say that bullpen ERA would probably be better if we did not lose May, because we wouldn't be having these
Oh,
bullpen
absolutely.
games,
Yeah.
and throwing the younger guys out there who have struggled at times. And to be honest, a lot of those runs have probably come in blowout games when they threw in like Mitch White and Dennis Santana and guys like that. So I really do feel like too many people are hard on this bullpen. They're not bad. They're, I think, better than
Yeah.
the credit they get deserved. So
That's where I was at, because a lot of the times I look and I'm like, damn, this bullpen just isn't getting it done. And then when I start thinking about it some more, start looking at some context, I'm like, you know what? Like you mentioned, they're actually not that bad. The blowout games do hurt them, and the bullpen games, they pitched well in those bullpen games, but still, any runs you give up are going to balloon because you are in the bullpen. So yeah, they've been fine, but they do need to make some moves because a lot of players are going to get tired. They're overusing Trinan and Gonzalez. Really have no
yeah.
choice at this point, but they're being overused. So hopefully we get some reinforcements soon.
Yeah, especially Gonzalez in there as a lefty.
Yeah,
He could use some help, and having Gratterall down at AAA right now working, they don't have him in there, and like we mentioned earlier, Alexander. So, really just kind of need a little bit more help in the bullpen. I would not be surprised if that's what we see them do come the trade deadline. I don't think the offense is a big deal. We know Seager, Muncy, and Bellinger are all going to return at some point. So, Pujols has been showing out like crazy. Especially against lefties. So I don't think offensively there's an issue. I don't think starting
no.
rotation there's an issue. I just think they need to get like a solid
I
bullpen
mean,
arm, one of them.
the offense is an issue, but it's
It
more
is,
so
yeah.
they're not playing up to their capabilities is all. Once they get rolling, they're going to be fine. But yeah, the
Yeah.
bullpen is definitely in need.
Yeah.
And
And
I don't know,
then,
maybe they think of going for a starter and putting Gonsolin in the bullpen. I don't know, but I've heard it's an option.
yeah, I mean, it could be. And we've kind of talked about this even dating back to last year. And then following into this year was kind of how we felt. Is Gonsolin a bullpen guy? Is he a starter? And then come playoffs, like you don't necessarily need 5 starters come playoffs. And you can kind of move around. So there's going to be some guys. It'll be interesting to see what happens come trade deadline, because some of these divisions are way closer in the race than you'd think they'd be. So it all really depends on what they're going to do.
I mean, the Pirates have a really good reliever, and the Pirates are out of it.
Yeah. So I guess it would depend on what they're looking for and what the Dodgers are willing to give up. I think this is the year that if they want to really try to repeat, you're going to have to go for it this year.
Yeah,
With guys like Kershaw becoming a free agent, Taylor becoming a free agent, going to have to kind of figure that out. Seager becoming a free agent. So I kind of feel like
resign Taylor, please.
yes, please. I feel like the front office is going to have to do something, just the way it is. We've dealt with way too many injuries. We don't have any idea. Like the Knable thing was a killer. We don't know what's going to happen there. We don't really know if he's going to return. I think like Tommy Canley, they had
I hope
thought
so.
maybe there's a chance Canley could come this year. We haven't heard a thing, so I really
No.
doubt anything
So
there
when they
happens.
first signed him, they said that they knew he wasn't going to pitch this year, even though Canley said he wanted to.
Yeah.
They said they weren't going to push it, which is why they gave him the second year. I know we're still talking about this year, but I'm excited for next year. I'm
Yeah,
gonna be
no, I am
honest.
too. Hey, we're gonna get Ferguson back. We'll get Ferguson back. We'll get
Oh man,
Hanley. I mean, May's probably been gone for
yeah,
quite some
May's gone
time,
next year.
but
Yeah,
yeah, so yeah, there's always things to look forward to with this team. But to finish off that Pirates series, Urias took the mound versus Keller, and the Dodgers came away with a 6-3 win. Urias picked up the win, improving his record to 9-2 on the season, which is actually really impressive. That he's got 9 wins already. It feels like we're still early into the season, even though we're not. But he went 6 innings, gave up 6 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned, did not walk anybody, and 5 strikeouts on 86 pitches. Decent outing from him. Had his moments, but
I thought he was all right. He definitely left some pitches up in the zone, and Reynolds and others made him pay. Um, like other pitchers, Julio wasn't getting the spin and break he usually does. Obviously, I expect this to be a common thing for pitchers moving forward. So pitchers are really going to have to locate and mix their pitches better. This isn't just for Julio; it's for the whole staff as well as the league. So they're really just going to have to command and pinpoint their pitches better. But I thought
I
Julio
will say
was all right.
I think that's good news for us because the offense could really get going there. I've said it. I will 100% take our starting rotation, even if you take the sticky stuff away. I still like our chances, and if that means the other pitchers are not going to be as good, I think that's a good sign for our offense.
Yeah.
So we saw Betts had a hell of a game. He had that leadoff home run in the top of the first, which was actually his first home run since May 18th. So 75 plate appearances without a home run. Pretty kind of crazy to think about. And then that second inning, after already giving up an RBI double, Mookie kind of misplayed that ball a little bit. However, he quickly made up for it. That next play, he had that shoestring grab, spins around and just guns the ball home. And it's a perfect throw for the double play. And
he did that way too smooth and easy. Like I'm going to be honest, I was sitting here a little irritated. Like, you're that damn good that you made that look easy. It was a little frustrating because it's like, damn, I wish I could do that.
Yeah, and then there was some kind of shades of what some people were saying of Roberto Clemente out there in Pittsburgh and a type of play that he would have made. So it just goes to show kind of how good Mookie Betts is, even when he doesn't have the bat necessarily going for him. He's currently second on the team in WAR on Baseball Reference with a 2.5, and a decent amount of that has come from his defense. Obviously, it's there for the offense too, but Muncy obviously leads the team with the 3.4 WAR, which is insane. Almost an entire point. Almost an entire point.
Taylor has to be third then, right?
Bueller's third. Taylor's fourth.
Oh, so, pitchers are added. Okay.
Yeah, so Bueller's 2.4 and then Taylor's 2.1. So Betts is up there. Defense helps with a ton of that. And then they kind of
I expected Bueller to be high because apparently Bueller can hit.
Yeah, Bueller can hit. And he's honestly right now he's our best pitcher, ERA wise.
By far.
Yeah,
and hitting wise, he's our best pitcher all around. Yeah,
he's out there killing it.
Without the strikeouts. Crazy.
Yeah, which has been very weird. But Dodgers continue to do their thing. They got a couple hit by pitches in the top of the third. Something interesting that stuck out to me, because I feel like I'm guilty of this, and I feel like our entire fan base is guilty of this, but we're always bitching and complaining that like the Dodgers suck with the bases loaded. In this game, this is just after the Thursday game, the Dodgers have 87 RBIs with bases loaded, and the next closest team was at 58. So almost 30 runs less than the Dodgers with the bases loaded. So next time we decide to say that the Dodgers can't hit with bases loaded, that is very incorrect because they are the best at baseball when it comes to doing that.
Yeah. Well, I think some people might look at, well, how many plate appearances do they have, and like what's the percentages equal out to?
Yeah, I don't
like
have
if their
that
percentage
number,
is low, then they're like, well, they're not good all the time. They just make it count when they actually do hit. But 87 is still an absurd amount of RBIs with the bases loaded, and considering
especially only
58.
Yeah,
they're doing fine. And the crazy part is we're all complaining and that they could be better, and they probably could be better. And if they get better, good luck, league.
Yeah, once they get better, it's over for everyone else. So we're kind of enjoying this from like a step back, like, hey, our team is still good, but we're not quite there just yet. And so freaking
go ahead. I was gonna say I know everyone hated that YouTube game, but I found it so fucking funny. Like I haven't laughed. I haven't laughed that much during a game ever, I don't think. I mean, I don't know what the hell Jerry Harrison was talking about. He was just saying random things,
random
about
nicknames,
Gators,
and
about
random
lakes,
nicknames,
nicknames, and I was dying. For me, it made the game enjoyable. I know everybody else was frustrated, and I know people love the information and the excitement and the dad jokes from Jordan Oral, and I love that too. But the sheer randomness of Harrison Jr. had me dying.
I mean, I don't know what they expected having three different broadcasters
It
calling
was
from three
amazing.
different locations and like guys that don't work together. Yeah, I was not a fan of it, but like all these nicknames that Jerry Harrison was like, oh, the kids call Austin Barnes the real AB. I'm like, I have never heard anyone call Austin Barnes that. I have like Cody Love was from like rookie year and it lasted for like one player's weekend jersey and then was never a
Oh,
thing again.
it's
But
so
yeah,
good.
no, a lot of people seem to like it. I will say what I do like about it is that it makes it easily watchable throughout the entire world. Like
Yeah,
it's on YouTube. So I was a
yeah.
big fan of that. Um, However, I wouldn't necessarily mind having the home broad or not the home broadcast, but figuring out a way to either have Joe and Oral or maybe have I don't know, some way that you still, because I feel like you really get to know the players that way when their own team's broadcast is talking about them. That's how you really learn about the players versus
I
like
think that's what they
these.
were trying to do. So they got Casey's on the Pirates broadcast. I don't know why they got Jerry, but for me,
he's on,
Jerry
he's on
made
the
that
SNLA
broadcast.
team, so
He made the broadcast great to me. So
he was having the time of his life. He got a
he was having
platform.
so much fun.
He got a platform and he was not going to like blow that chance at just going all out and doing his thing.
He just kept
So
talking, and I was
I
like,
mean, yeah, and they kept like interrupting each other. They kept cutting each other off. Like it was just like,
oh
oh, this is
man.
a disaster. But at time, like at one point, I
It was
started just
definitely a
like,
disaster, but I had so much fun watching the train wreck.
yeah, I know a lot of people did enjoy that side of it too. So I think luckily for me, at least for those who don't care for it, I think it only happens once a year for your team. So we'll see what happens there. But back to the game, Urias was part of that, those bases loaded numbers. We've seen him come through a couple times this year. He had the bases loaded 2-run single to give the Dodgers a 4-1 lead. And then he gave up that home run, like you mentioned, to Reynolds. McKinstry gave the Dodgers a little bit of a boost in the 7th with his RBI base hit. And then we saw the rain delay. I don't know what took so long for them to call that game, but they waited about an hour before they finally called it. Should have been
It
called
didn't make
much
any
sooner.
sense. Yeah.
I was getting very, very nervous watching the Dodgers play out there because we don't need any more injuries. And all I ever think about when I see rain is that play of Bryce Harper running to first and his knee just like almost hyperextending and him like flipping because the base I think was a little bit slippery. So that stuff always stresses me out. I'm glad nobody got hurt on either side. A little fun fact, the Dodgers haven't lost a game to the Pirates in over 3 years. Their last loss came from the Pirates in June 6th of 2018. So um, I had said I hope they take 2 out of 3. There was no reason to think they wouldn't take 3 out of 3, and they did. That was also the 44th game this season where a Dodgers starter has gone at least 6 innings. So they are getting depth from their starters for the
Yeah.
most part, and it's been looking good. And so they pull off that sweep.
I did want to say I liked what I saw from the offense that game. I feel like it was waking up some because they put together multiple innings with runs instead of just the one big inning with a
Yeah.
bunch of runs. They got runs in like 3 or 4 different innings, so that was nice to see finally.
Yeah, because you had the Betts leadoff home run in the first, and then you had 3 runs in the third, and then you had an extra run in the seventh. So it was all kind of split out. It was against starters, bullpen. It was just like, okay, good. You guys are hitting everyone, not just like literally not just what happened in like Friday's game where they just beat the hell out of Fulton Awicks, and then that was really it for the rest of the night. But that leads us into Friday. We had Kershaw on the mound and they just absolutely dominated the Rangers 12-1. And Kershaw took the win and moves to 8-5 on the season. And he really needed this outing. I felt very confident going into this. He went 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 run, no earned, no walks, and 9 strikeouts on 92 pitches after giving up 5 earned run in back-to-back starts previous to that. So he looked really locked in after the game. He had said he felt like his command on his fastball was his biggest improvement from his last start. And I think we all know that with Kershaw's fastball, there isn't a ton of velocity. So if the command is not there, it can get problematic very, very fast. But man, he was racking up those
Yeah,
strikeouts
I was just
against.
about to say he pitched absolutely great. Again, like everybody else, spin rate took a massive drop. but he was locating his pitches so well, it really didn't even matter. Like you mentioned, his fastball's only going to touch 91, 92, but if he locates it where he wants to inside on right-handers, which he was doing, really doesn't matter. Then, of course, the slider can't be touched. And I know it doesn't grade out as such, but to me, his slider is the best pitch on this staff. When he has it going, it seems pretty unhittable, and he definitely had to go in that game.
Yeah, he did. And then in the top of the fourth, he actually struck out 4 batters due to one reaching on a 3rd strike wild pitch. So that was pretty cool. He struck out 4 in that inning alone.
Also, good news is after the game, he said he had no trouble pitching to Will Smith going forward, which is nice.
that's good news because we all know how important Will Smith's bat can be. So in the moments we need him in there. And so that was great. He said he was fine pitching to Smith. He looked real good doing it. Dodgers just offense went off. Betts reached on an error, put the ball in play, see what they do, and then Muncy comes in and crushes a home run, his 14th of the year. Unfortunately, he came out of the game after hitting that home run with oblique tightness and is now on the 10-day IL, which is very bad news. I've told you, and I always say it, obliques stress me out. McKinstry missed over a month.
Yeah, let's say McKinstry. Yeah.
So I will see what happens there. They said they think they caught it early. I don't know how much I believe that when it comes to an oblique. I feel like once you heard it, you heard it. There is no, hey, we found it early.
And they can be tricky because didn't you say that Verdugo had an oblique injury and then it turned into a back issue?
That's what led to the broken back because the oblique was not strong enough to handle the torque of swinging a bat, and then his back did not hold out.
Muncy swings hard as shit too, so take your time, bro.
Yeah, so I am praying do not rush him back because he is, I think, crucial. We've seen as soon as Muncy got hot, the offense started turning things around, so we need him out there. It's funny enough, they bring in Pujols, and then Pujols hits a home run in the bottom of the 4th to put the Dodgers up 9-0. That was his career 672 and number 5 with the Dodgers, which is the same.
They hit 3 home runs that first inning, right? It was Muncy, Turner, Lux.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Lux doubled in the 3rd, and then Kershaw doing what he does with his 2-out RBI base hit. But actually, though, that RBI base hit from Kershaw was the 14th RBI by a Dodgers pitcher this year, which leads all of baseball, which is pretty crazy. So I love to see our pitchers coming through when they need to. But yeah, they had 5 home runs total in the game, which is the most that they've had all season, and they were just absolutely crushing the ball off Foltynewicz. Yeah. I think they had like 9 batted balls that were like 100 miles per hour off the bat. So they had
his breaking pitches were just hanging there. So then they were just teeing off.
He's just a bad pitcher. Like, he's not good.
The crazy thing is he used to be good with Atlanta. Yeah. And then the next season, all of a sudden, I don't know what the hell happened. He's been bad ever since.
And he just hasn't figured it out. But Pujols and Smith both hit a home run. I was at that game, and I've got to say, as much as I hated the Pujols signing, at first, I have absolutely fallen in love with it. It has been fantastic. It is a ton of fun. He is so happy out there. And I have to admit, seeing him hit a home run was like one of the coolest things I saw this weekend. Because it's Albert Pujols, and seeing him hit that home run in a Dodger stadium, like, I stood up and I was just like, I felt like a little kid, kind of like you mentioned, saying you felt like seeing Pujols. Like, I just felt like a little kid, like, oh my God, this legend is out here hitting home runs for our team. And like, he looks really good doing it. He also now has 20 seasons, which is insane to think about. 20 seasons with 10 plus home runs. So good for Pujols. He's out there killing it for our Dodgers.
I know he's old, and I mean, he's not doing what he used to do, but he's looked better this year than he has like the past 2 or 3.
So I was talking to my friend Tati about this, and we were kind of discussing, like, a lot of it has to be an environmental change. How the front office runs, knowing your place, knowing when you're going to play, stuff like that. It really means a lot to a player. It allows them to prepare better. It allows them to mentally be where they need to be. And we were talking, like, imagine if Mike Trout played in an organization like the Dodgers, what his numbers would be compared to playing in a poorly ran organization like Anaheim. I can't imagine. His numbers
are already crazy. I don't want to think about it.
Yeah, imagine throwing Trout in like the 3rd or 4th spot in the Dodgers rotation and the Dodgers lineup, and just what those numbers would look like if he was actually with a team that also performed around him. So the Angels seem to be doing good without Pujols, but that's fine.
That's
shout
true.
out. Yeah.
But also at the same time, Pujols said this is the first time he's been healthy in a few years. So
Yeah, well, shout out Artie Moreno paying like 29 million or something stupid for Pujols to hit home runs for us. I
And shout out
appreciate
for
it.
blocking that trade last year. Thank you for that too.
Yeah, yeah, that too. So we could keep Jock in October when he does what he does best. And also then we got to trade Stripling to the Blue Jays, and I'm excited for Kendall Williams. So um we'll see how that goes there. Betts got hit by a pitch again. I talked about this a podcast or two ago. That now ties his career high. He's been hit 8 times. So it's a little bit funny with this whole sticky situation going on. I've said this before on the podcast, like, oh, pitchers want to use it to grip. However, it seems like players are getting hit more. And it seems like because they might be sacrificing kind of command for more spin rate.
Yeah,
And so
they are.
Mookie's been hit quite a bit. Maybe now with substances not being a thing so much in baseball, we will see less of that, please, because
Hopefully, I know it was a breaking ball, but once he got hit, I was like, all right, can we stop hitting him, please?
yeah, he
It's
laughed
annoying.
as soon as he got to first, but I do not care. I still don't want to see him get hit. I believe I read something that like 13 players this year have been hit by a pitch 7 or more times, and we have 2 players on the team, and Taylor and Betts. So like, quit throwing at our guys,
Damn,
please.
not even Turner. That's crazy.
Yeah, the Dodgers lead all of baseball with like 50 something hit by pitches. So let's take it
That's
easy,
fun.
please. We've
Yeah,
got enough
please
injuries
stop.
as is. Y'all have already knocked out Seager. We don't need anyone else getting hit. But the only run or the only run that the Rangers had that night did come off of when Garcia reached on an error with 1 out, and then Gallo RBI ground out. So Dodgers kicked ass that game, did their thing, looked kind of good all around. Unfortunately, missed this part. Unfortunately, Bellinger left that game with hamstring tightness as well and has yet to play since then. Little update on that. If he is not ready to go by Wednesday, they are thinking about possibly putting him on the IL. So that's awful news there, especially with him just coming back and kind of looking like he's finding his groove a little bit. He's been doing agility drills, but he says he's not feeling good. And that already alone is not a good sign when a player tells you it doesn't feel great, because we all know those players like to try and suck it up and play through injuries. So when he comes out and tells Roberts that he didn't feel great on Sunday before the game, that's not making me feel too hot about everything going on there. But we'll just have to kind of hope that he feels better because he's needed. And even when he's not hitting, having his glove out there in center field has been such an improvement
Yes.
that I definitely don't want to lose that one. And then Saturday's game rolled around, and that is when Dennis Santana was DFA'd. The Dodgers also selected Andy Burns from OKC and optioned Mitch White. They also recalled Rayleigh from OKC and placed Muncy on the 10-day IL, as we talked about.
I mean, this is no disrespect to Rayleigh. I'm not understanding.
Yeah.
Zach Rex has been doing just fine too. He's a lefty power hitter. You could have used him. At least give him a shot. I don't know. Is it because Rayleigh can run fast?
I
That's
don't
cool.
pay enough attention to the minor leagues to know like who's ready to go and who's not, but I do know that Rayleigh really hasn't done anything. So I don't know. They probably have their reasons for it. So let's just hope Muncy is back very soon and Rayleigh goes back to OKC where I'm sorry, but you belong, sir. And then Saturday's game rolled around, and well, that shit sucked. That was awful.
Yeah,
awful.
no one showed up for the game. The offense took a day off. The pitching
Bauer
took a day off.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah, not
was
even
bad.
just Bauer. Fucking everybody took the goddamn day off.
Was bad.
But Bauer took the L in this one, making his record 6-5 on the season. 6 1/3 innings pitched, 9 hits, 6 runs, 4 earned, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts on 91 pitches. Yeah, ugly. Bauer, as we all know, is one of the main people in this whole sticky substance. He has been very open about it for years. He wanted baseball to do something about it 4 years ago. They refused to. So Bauer said, if you can't beat them, join them. And the dude just went full scientist mode and kind of created his own thing that has made his spin rate one of the craziest in baseball. However, since the June 3rd news about foreign substances coming out, Bauer has not been good at all. And I know you have your theory on this, but really quickly, those numbers over his last 2 starts, he is 12 1/3 innings pitched, 15 hits, 9 runs, 7 earned. 6 base on balls, 15 strikeouts. The weird thing to me is he has only given up 1 home run. So like he was giving up all his runs on home runs when he was using the sticky stuff. And now that he's not, he's kind of cut that back. He hasn't hit anyone. However, he does have a 5.11 ERA in those 12 and a third innings pitch. And opponents are slashing 300, 375 and slugging 500 with an 875 OPS. So, and just so that way you guys know before you give your theory on Bauer, there's Travis Sawchik, who is a senior MLB writer for the Score, had actually this is insane, tweeted out that through Saturday play, 67.2% of pitchers have had a spin reduction since June 3rd. So if you want to look at it, basically about 70% of the league pitchers are cheating. Like we said, this is a huge thing, and I'm sure
the other ones are still doing it and just haven't got caught
or
yet.
There's more and they just haven't got caught yet or stopped doing it because they don't care. And they have to start caring because beginning June 21st, MLB is coming out with they're going to actually start busting players. They get suspended. They get, they're still paid, which I feel like is weird. If I played on a shitty team, I'd be like, screw it. I don't care. I'm just going to keep doing it so I can get paid until I get caught. However, something interesting I found out, which is very bad, if a player gets suspended, they can't replace them on the roster. So if someone like Bauer were to get caught, because part of me was thinking like, screw it, I almost want the Dodgers to keep doing it until someone gets caught, if that's going to make them be good. But knowing if they were to lose Bauer and can't replace him on the roster, that puts a really big hamper because that's 2 starts that you'd have to go to a bullpen game, which could be done. But again, if you can't replace the spot, you can't bring someone back like Uceta. So we are going to see a lot of stuff happening in baseball. We will see what happens, who gets suspended. So Ray, who's not here now, will fill you in a little bit more on that in the MLB news when he adds that in. But if you want to let us know what you're seeing with Bauer.
So just ears. Like a quick overview. Bauer, 4 home runs, 6 in the 3rd inning, bad. 8 strikeouts, good. Only 2 walks for him. That's actually pretty good. His issue was he was throwing too many pitches over the plate. Now, I mean, you think that's a good thing, but when your spin is down, not so great. So his last few starts, he's throwing his sinker a lot more than usual, and it's up in the zone instead of down. The 4-seamer was up, but it wasn't up enough, as we saw to Heim and Lowe, who smoked a single to right, and Heim, of course, blasted that home run. So it seems like right now for me, as I was looking at things, he's trying to work out what pitches are working and which aren't working. So he's kind of tinkering with stuff, kind of like Bueller does. So if the postseason comes around and he pitches well, I'm sure the Dodgers get there, of course, then this tinkering stage, it won't even really be remembered. So get it out of the way now, figure out what's working, what's not working, before the games start becoming more important.
Yeah, so like we've mentioned this about Bueller in the past, how his regular season numbers aren't always the greatest because he spends a lot of that time tinkering. And if that's what Bauer's doing, then I'm all for it because I'm not too concerned about them making the playoffs. I'm concerned about what they will do once they get there because that's when it really matters. The
thing I noticed is when he was doing really well, it was 4-seam, cutter, slider. Now he's throwing sinkers, he's throwing changeups.
So he's just trying everything.
He's just trying to figure out what's going to work. Just so what if I don't have my slider this game, I could throw the changeup, and if I know it works, I'll be able to get away with it. But right now it's not working. So just, keep getting the feel for it, and, I'll take these bad outings. I don't care. It's June. Once it hits like late August, September, I'll start having an issue.
Yeah. And I think the rest of the starting rotation around him it will be fine. And so they kind of just need him. Besides, when he left the game, it was 5-0. There was someone on base that he was responsible for, and Price gave up the RBI base hit to Garcia, making it 6-0. So the game wasn't completely out of reach when he did leave the game. Pollock's solo home run in the 7th was the only thing that
there was just no
got the Dodgers on the board.
It was a lefty, so I knew they'd struggle, but that was bad.
Yeah, that was just a really bad game kind of all around. Jones came in, struggled a little bit, and then they said screw it, and they brought Andy Burns in, and he ended up pitching and gave up a double and gave up a 2-run home run. But it's also the first time in MLB history.
Oh, I was gonna say the game before that, Culberson came in. Culberson throws a lot harder than I thought. I thought he was going to go in there and throw 78, 79. He was throwing 90, and I was like, oh, well, excuse me.
Culberson always shines in his big moment. So now he's like, I'm going to throw 90 now that I do. I'm coming back to the stadium where they had that walk-off on Vin Scully. He was probably hyped up, pumped up, ready to go. But yeah, just not a good game for the offense. It was the first time in MLB history teams have split back-to-back games with 12-1 scores, according to Joe Davis. Really, that game sucked. The only positive that I had out of it was I got to meet Adrian Beltre, which was amazing. Like the craziest thing ever. Like I tend to be very hesitant about going up and asking whether former players, current players, whatever, for pictures. I've done it so many times that I've kind of taken a step back. I leaned forward because I was sitting in the Rangers family section, and like Michael Young was in our section all night. And so he was there too. And I leaned forward to like kind of just talk to my friends. We were in the back row, and I see Adrian Beltre standing at like where those standing spaces would be at the loge section. And I was just like, holy shit, that's Adrian Beltre. I need a picture. My friends were like, go. I have never jumped up from my seat so fast in my life. Went up to him. I was like, Mr. Beltre, can I please have a picture? And I felt like he was kind of annoyed because I was definitely like maybe the third or fourth person to have come up to him. But I was like, I can't let this moment pass up. Like, I'm sorry. I will ask for a picture and then leave you alone. Like, I will not be bothersome. But I got back to my seat and I was like tweeting out my caption that like I had met him to post a picture, and I was legit shaking. Like that's never happened before where I was like shaking after I met a player. Cause he started playing for the Dodgers when I was 5 and left when I was 10. And so like, that's the very first Dodgers team that I actually remember watching growing up. He was on the team. So yeah, that was a really cool moment for me. That was the only exciting part of that game, but really, I will take it any day when it comes to meeting a future Hall of Famer like
he was
Adrian
great
Beltre.
Too.
Yeah, he was.
Probably should have had MVP if it wasn't for Bonds.
Yeah, there were a couple people that as soon as I posted it, that's like one of the first things that and how the Dodgers never should have let him go was all the comments I was getting under the picture. But yeah, it was pretty wild. I will happily take a 12-1 loss when it means meeting someone like Beltre. But luckily, Sunday's game, we did not have to watch them suck it up again. Freaking Walker Buehler, like I said, continues to just kind of kill it out there. He picks up the win and moves on to 6-0 in this season. He has not lost a regular season or postseason game since September 21st of 2019 against the Rockies. So Buehler does not take those losses. And it's funny, he actually knew in the press conference right away when he took that last loss. So he did say it's mostly a team stat. It doesn't mean a whole much to him. The offense has to show up in order for him to get those wins. But he went 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, no runs, 3 walks. And those 3 walks all came in the top of the first, left them all stranded, 5 strikeouts on 96 pitches. And it is now his 13th straight start where he's gone at least 6 innings. And on the season, he is now 6-0 with a 2.38 ERA, which is the best on the Dodgers, and 83 1/3 inning pitch. And he has 77 strikeouts to 17 walks. So his strikeouts are down, but that was a very good outing from him. I liked what I saw.
A few things before we move on. The wins thing is definitely a team stat. So you said Julio was 92 with an ERA of like 3.56.
Yeah.
Bauer has 5 losses and his ERA is what, 2.5?
Yeah, it's like, so, yeah.
It's definitely a team stat.
And that's why I hate that they use it for Cy Young voting. Like, it is so stupid.
Yeah.
Quit using it. Literally, like,
there was that one time.
Look at poor Jacob deGrom. Like, dude can barely get wins because his team sucks. You should never hold that against a pitcher.
Absolutely. There was that one time where I think Felix Hernandez had more losses than wins, but he was doing so well. There was no way they could give it to him. Another thing is, I saw somebody tweet about Buehler not losing since that date you mentioned, and somebody was like, yeah, but he barely goes 6 innings, and his sub-3 ERA is underwhelming. And I was like, what the fuck is this guy talking about?
Yeah.
What word is a sub-3 ERA underwhelming?
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care if he goes 5 innings.
And he's gone 6 innings. What the hell?
Every start this year, he has gone at least 6 innings. Every single start. And that dude walked the bases, like walked 3 batters in the first, somehow like 33 pitches or something like that. And then somehow comes out and goes 5 more innings after that and doesn't give up a run. So I don't know who said that, but that's a wild comment.
It was just, that's why I don't look at comments anymore. It's
Bueller has
just,
been friggin' nails,
yeah.
and he deserves all the credit
So
for it.
yeah, I wanted to say, of course, he was great again. The 3 walks, but obviously, like you mentioned, it was just in 1 inning. The 5 strikeouts are up from 2, so that was at least a little nice to see. It's still low for Bueller, but like I mentioned, better than the 2 previously had. Again, spin was down on every pitch but the slider. So the slider seems to be his bread and butter right now. He's been the best pitcher in the stretch, and the crazy thing is, I bet he thinks he could be better. And as fans, we probably agree that he could be better. The outings, like, they haven't felt dominant, but he's gotten the job done. So it could be really scary for the league if his outings start turning dominant, because he looks locked in, and when he gets in the zone, not many pitchers can reach what he does, and hitters can barely touch his stuff. So
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
excited
waiting.
for that.
I'm waiting for like postseason Bueller to make his appearance for like a month stretch in the season, because then I think, because I was listening to Talkin' Baseball, which is a John Boy podcast, and I was listening to it yesterday. I think it was their latest episode that dropped either yesterday or Friday, but either way, like, they do standout performances, and they had literally, one of the guys, Jake, had literally said, like, Walker Bueller's my guy. And he's like, I don't know why we don't talk about him enough. Like, I don't know if it's just Dodger fatigue or what it is, but Walker Bueller is so damn good, and like, nobody talks about it enough. Like, nobody
So
talks
good.
about what he's doing out there. I love Bueller. He, to me, is like, he's the guy the Dodgers need to lock up. Like, that's the next big one. Like, when you look at the core players, that to me is the next big one that they need to make sure does not go anywhere, because someone has to take that torch when Kershaw is no longer here, as like, which I think a lot of people will say Bueller is our ace more so than Kershaw is. But like, you still want that veteran guy who's going to take over as the number one, even at, like, take over that spot when Kershaw decides he no longer wants to play baseball. But yeah, it was a great outing from him. It was nice to see them take advantage of the leadoff walk from Betts, and then Lux doubled him home. And then Betts had another home run. And like I had mentioned back in that series against the Pirates, he had gone 75 plate appearances without a home run. And then he goes in homers in this series. Again, I was there for it. And it was so amazing to finally see Betts like at Dodger Stadium with fans. And I got to be there for it, like, see that home run in person.
You were there for all the games, right?
All of
3?
the ones against the Rangers. Yeah, I didn't
Rangers.
go. Yeah.
You
I
going
didn't
today
go
for
last.
reopening?
I am. Yes, I was not going to miss
Yeah.
this game. I cannot wait. I fully expect a complete shit show. 25,000 bobbleheads, full capacity, everything open. So I'm expecting it to be a full blown mess. But like, I can't wait to be there with 56,000 fans. Granted, it might not be a full sellout. I think it'll be fairly close. And so I'm looking forward to it. I cannot wait. But yeah, McKinstry came in. He had his 2-run double. Beatty with the 2-out base hit later in the game, put them up 5-0. Got a little sketchy there at the end, but very quickly offense before we get into the last inning of pitching. Betts finished that game going 2 for 3 with a walk and scored all 3 times he reached base. That seems to be something Mookie does very well. Get him on base, and he finds a way to get himself home.
Yeah.
McKinstry with his first big game since returning from the IL, 3 for 3 with a double, 2 RBIs and a walk. So that was nice to see there. Kind of maybe getting some things going with them. And then the 9th inning, Bickford came into pitch and immediately gave up a leadoff double, a walk, and then an RBI base hit. Kiner Falefa RBI base hit, and so they had to bring in Jansen. Very quickly, I feel like a lot of people were really hard on Bickford for this outing, which, like, yeah, it wasn't a good one, but let's also not ignore everything else he's done since he's been called up. Like,
Right.
a lot of people were like,
Yeah.
oh, send him down. And I'm like, whoa. Like, he's actually been good for us. Like, he should not have been called up. Like, he's probably so far down in the depth chart that, like, he was not expecting to pitch in the big leagues,
Yeah.
like, right now.
Also,
and he showed
before you
up.
could, I just wanted to say real fast, Connor Falefa was good.
Yeah,
Can hit.
he is. He's very good. He's kind of was a pain in our ass all series.
He's not a big power hitter, but he's the kind of hitter I want Lux to be.
Where he
Doubles
has the power,
hits.
but yeah, doubles,
Yes.
yeah. And I
Doesn't
think that's what
launch
they
every
need from
time.
Lux.
But the thing is, and I noticed in the Pirate series, he's not trying to launch so much anymore. He's gone the other way for his hits, except that single to right center. So I have a prediction for a few players, but I'll save it for when it's the break, the All-Star break.
Okay. Yeah, I'm liking Lux. I feel like he's kind of getting there slowly but surely. It's been a little slow, on and off, hot weeks not. But Ninth inning, Jansen came into pitch with runners on first and third with no outs, and he gave up a base hit to Calhoun, made it a 5-3 game, and then Garcia singled to load the bases. However, then Jansen came in and shut that shit down real quick. 2 pop outs and a ground out to end the game. He did what he needed to do. It wasn't necessarily
Final
pretty,
year of contract
but
strikes again.
yeah,
This is when players usually play their best.
Yeah, so hey, I'll take it. Jansen has just been like so good. To give you an idea, including last night. So, well, actually, we'll just get into last night's games. That way I can make a little bit more sense of it. But
Real fast, I did want to say it was nice to see trying to bounce back with a clean inning in that last Rangers game.
Yeah, in that last Rangers game, and then last night, Jesus Christ, I don't know how that hit by Harper was not a home run, because
neither do I.
I think everyone was like,
okay, 3-3.
Everyone's like, oh, tie game, and then it's like, oh no, and then like Eric Steven joked how like, how did that ball, like still thinking about Cody Bellinger's World Series home run ball that never went out like that. Like I don't know what happened, but yeah, shout out.
If it was the ball last year, that's
that's
way
like way up the pavilion, maybe the roof, because he freaking he had a 39-degree launch angle. Had he got like, because Taylor's was 37 with 105 off the bat, and Harper's was 39, 102 off the bat. So Hershiser was saying if you're gonna hit it that high, like I think that's what killed him. He got too much under it. Hershiser was saying if you're gonna hit it at that high of a launch angle, you probably got to hit like 110. So we got lucky there, but. Dodgers did pick up the win 3-1, and this was another start for Gonsolin. It did not start out very pretty. However, he did only give up 1 run over 3 2/3 innings pitched, 4 hits, 3 walks, and 5 strikeouts on 81 pitches. So he gave up a leadoff walk, and then Segura, who's very good, doubles, and then Harper had the 1-out RBI base hit, but that was it. He had a 30-pitch first inning and then settled in. Did you like what you see more from him in this one?
Not really. Okay, so here's the thing. I feel like I'm harder on a lot of other pitchers. So like when other pitchers walk people, I'm like, are you kidding me? And then when Bauer does it, I'm like, I expect it. So I just think I expect better from command from other pitchers, so I don't. So I'm a little harder on them when they're walking people. First inning was rough. Other than that, I thought he was fine. But my only thing is I think he might be tinkering as well because he's throwing his slider more than usual. His slider is what got him in trouble last year in the playoffs because he wasn't good in the playoffs. But during the season, he was great just throwing his 4-seam and split. Started throwing the slider more, didn't work. It's not working right now. So it might be a scouting report thing. It might be just him trying to tinker, trying to get a feel for it so that he can have another pitch to go to. I think his curve is actually decent. It won't be great, but maybe you should start throwing that more. But his go-to has to be his fastball and split change. His fastball is always graded out good. Split change is really goddamn good. All his strikeouts have been on fastballs and split changes. And again, that's when he's at his best. So I would like for him to ride out those 2 pitches and just occasionally throw maybe the slider just until he gets a feel for it, then throw it more. But for right now, he just doesn't have a feel for it. And I mean, he's only getting up 2 runs, but at some point it's going to come back to bite him in the ass. Yeah. So,
and they haven't been against good teams.
And he's usually very efficient.
Yeah, that's usually his thing. So it's an improvement.
I forgot to say last night, I think Joe Davis said he threw like 15 pitches an inning last year, which was somewhere
pretty good
at the top. Yeah, at the top of the league. And so far this year it's been like 30 plus. So yeah. I think he'll be fine though. If he's tinkering, fine by all means. Just like with Bauer and Bueller, go ahead, figure it out. Now's the time to figure it out. But also at the same time, your 2 pitches that work, throw those.
Yeah, my biggest thing is length, just because we need to really take off this all of these innings on the bullpen, because again, like it was 5 1/3 innings of a bullpen game last night. I don't know if you noticed, but Gonsolin started pitching from the stretch in the 3rd inning, and he had his first 1, 2, 3 inning of the game, so he kind of settled in after that. Maybe he can kind of work with that a little bit.
It might be a Urias thing where they just scrap the windup all together and just go from the stretch. Yeah.
So, but bullpen again, fantastic last night. Only gave up 4 hits over the 5 1/3, and they didn't. I mean, there were no walks
So
and no
can we
runs.
talk about how fucking good Jimmy Nelson has been? I
Yeah,
mean,
actually, because I have notes on him. So go for it.
I don't feel like I've given him the proper acknowledgement that he deserves.
Because he
He's
had
been
like that one weird opening to start the season, and then it was like
he did
yeah,
great, and
I
I
don't
think he
think
had a bad
anyone
outing
gives
against
him
the
enough credit.
Padres, and then he's been nails. I mean, he did miss some time with an injury, but he's been so damn good. And if he can pitch a little more frequently and still be effective, I think that's going to help out Trinan and Gonzalez a lot, who've been used to death.
I think he could be the perfect kind of high leverage guy because he has struck out 36 of 87 batters he's faced, which is a stupid 41.4%. That's insane
He's been
that he's
incredible.
striking out more than 40% of batters he's facing. So I think for him, it's just a matter of finding that consistency where he can give us kind of those innings on back-to-back days, whether like just one inning, and give us consistent. But yeah, he had that 1, 2, 3, eighth inning and struck out too. He's been fantastic. He was another one that I was like really high on in spring training, and I thought he was a very good signing. I thought they gave him another shot. He easily could have went to another team. I think other teams actually offered him more money, but he wanted to stay with the Dodgers after missing all of last year due to his back surgery. So I also respect that. Like I respect
100%.
a player who is
And
willing
I
to
hope
go,
he's back
you know
next year
what?
too.
Yeah, like I respect a guy who's going, you know what? I signed with you guys to play and I didn't get to. I want that chance with you, even if it means less money. So
Yeah.
hopefully
Yeah,
he's
Tommy Kohler.
taken
No,
care
just kidding.
of.
He retired, so it's all
Yeah.
good.
So
I'm just messing with him.
I respect Nelson for that, and hopefully he gets taken care of after this year. I would love to see him come back.
Yeah.
But Jansen, he was great. He had a 1, 2, 3, ninth inning, struck out one. This season, Jansen has a 1.63 ERA, 16 saves over 27 and 2/3 innings pitched, only 5 earned runs, 1 home run, 19 walks. So the walks are a little there. We've seen it in 31
But that was all from
strikeouts.
the beginning of the season because he
Yeah,
had a stretch where he just kept
yeah,
walking
that's true.
everybody.
He's really kind of settled in with
Yeah.
his walks now. So that's been huge and that's been much needed. I feel like a lot of guys, or not a lot of guys, a lot of fans just really don't want to give Jansen any credit when it's due. I just feel like
I feel like I'm one of those, honestly, and it's just the fact that okay, you've been the last 3 years, and now this year you're doing well, and I think it's because you're in a contract year. So my only thing is he's doing great. I'll take it. Thank you. But at the same time, I don't want this to mean the Dodgers are just going to re-sign him because then if he reverts back, I'm going to be pissed off.
Yeah, I don't see him coming
That's the
back.
tough thing.
I don't see it happening, but I guess you never could. I'm actually waiting on there's a podcast called Farm to Fame. It's another John Boy one, but and I have yet to listen to it, but the title of it's all about farm guys, like the farm system. And so the title of one of their episodes I've yet to listen to is Finding the Dodgers' Next Great Closer. So I am interested to give that a listen to kind of see their opinions and see what happens there. But yeah, he this year has a 2.34 ERA plus, and for those of you that don't know, 100 is league average, which means he is 134% better than other pitchers. So he's killing it, and like I said, the bullpen in general
amazing.
is killing it. Jansen was one of those guys who the spin rate insanely went up. I've been like saying, so you and I have jokingly said since day one, Bauer, like hook him up with that sticky shit because whatever.
Remember the spring training, they were throwing partners.
Yeah, it's working. And Jansen kind of does the whole crow hop warm-up pitch now for his last one to kind of get his arm going. He does that whole wiggle thing. And I think Bauer does the crow hop too every once in a while to warm up. So whatever it is that's working for Jansen, keep it going. Because he's looking good, and the Dodgers.
I know my dad hates his little hip wiggle. My dad can't stand his hip wiggle. And I'm like, hey, look, if it keeps working, I don't care what he does.
Yeah, whatever's working for you, dude, just keep doing it. Because last thing we want is honestly, as much as I was pissed off at Jansen last year when I felt like he threw the team under the bus with the whole, well, I did my job, the defense really didn't do theirs in that blown World Series game. That really like turned things that really, really, really upset me when he said that. And I remember even tweeting out, like, I don't even want you on the team again. I would be happy for Jansen if he has the opportunity to continue to be this good and has a chance at closing out the World Series or something along that is the way to kind of end his time in LA, because I do like the guy. However, I don't necessarily want to see him come back because I just worry that it's going to be the same stuff we've seen in years past. And
Yeah.
I like the guy. He means so much in the organization. I don't want him going out with like a sour taste in my mouth. So I mean, I guess we'll have to wait and see. The Dodgers are going to have quite a few free agent scenarios to work with,
So
and Jansen will be one of them.
yeah, I kind of wanted to break down last night's game really fast. Just I took a lot of notes for this game. Don't know why, but it's just a lot of things I noticed. So the Dodgers, they only managed 3 hits, but they damn sure made sure 2 of them count. So this might be a small thing, and usually things like this don't really work out. But I haven't said it on the podcast, but I've told people I am an advocate of a fielder's choice, as weird as that sounds, because it's not a double play.
Mhm.
So obviously it's better to get a hit, take a walk, or whatever. But sometimes players hit the ball on the ground, and so double plays aren't avoidable. And sometimes players hit the ball on the ground, they're like, "Fuck it," they just jog to first, double play.
Talking about Mr.
So
Lux.
yeah, so when Betts took a walk and Lux hit the ground ball, I was like, "Oh shit, all right, well, whatever." But he busted his ass down the line, and he beat it out. So then, of course, people are looking to say, "Oh, well, Turner can hit into a double play," but Turner hits the ball in the air a lot, so I wasn't really too concerned about that. So I was like, "Okay, cool. You just swap Betts for Lux. Now maybe Turner gets a hit, or if he flies out or strikes out, whatever, it'll give another batter another opportunity." So that's my thing. It gives another batter a shot to get the job done. So like, yes, you didn't get the job done, but it gives somebody else a chance to get the job done. Now I've seen Betts do it. I've seen Beatty do it. Those didn't end up like helping the team, but still, the more chances you get to get like an extra at bat, the more you start to get runs from it. So instead of 3 outs, there was still only 2 outs. Again, it's not always going to work, but hell, it probably won't even work half the time. But giving them the opportunity is what it's really about. So also great job by Smith taking advantage of the extra at bat and giving the Dodgers the lead. Again, I know it's a small thing, but it's something that I appreciate that's not going to show up in the box score. I think more players should do it. So Taylor, McKinstry, players who can actually run. Obviously, I'm not expecting Turner and Pujols to do it because
Like,
you
you
can't
don't
run
want
to save their
Pujols to run
lives.
out a double play, though?
Absolutely not.
Probably going to get hurt.
Yeah, exactly. And same with Turner. So, and they're not fleet of foot anyway. So with players who can actually run a little bit, I would like to see him try a little bit more, just in case you are able to get an extra at bat and maybe that player comes through.
Yeah, I will give that to Lux. He does bust his ass, and I always appreciate that.
So last night, the offense missed a lot of fastballs against Howard. So recently, they've been seeing mostly breaking balls, and the Dodgers have gone up to the plate looking for those in a specific zone, which is causing them to then miss fastballs. Sometimes they're right down the middle. So most people would say, "Well, just sit on the fastball the whole at bat, and the problem's solved." But a lot of these pitchers are really throwing fastballs, and when they do, they're out of the zone. So and also they don't have much time to decide whether or not to swing. So even with heavy fastball pitchers, they've been throwing a lot of breaking pitches to the Dodgers. So I give credit to Howard for noticing, oh, they're all sitting breaking ball, I'm just going to pump fastballs. But also credit to Taylor and Smith for adjusting mid at bat and smoking those fastballs when they got him in the zone.
Yeah, Taylor has been a monster this year, what he's doing. And I said it on Twitter, and I'm going to say it again here. I will feel like we failed as a fan base if we do not find a way to get him to the All-Star game, because that man does not get enough credit for what he does for this team at all.
Where is he at right now?
He is.
I don't look at those things. I hate fans voting.
He's 6th in outfielders, and I think the top 9 make it. So he's 6th right now. So he should be pretty decent locked in. As long as
he's locked in at first, right?
Right now he's because that's actually did you still have more? Because I was gonna get into all-star voting, or
It was just a quick note for the week. Just really, so Turner had the most hits this week with 8. Lux and Taylor followed with 6. It was very nice to see Turner finally put multiple games together instead of just one. Shout out to Tyler Anderson for getting Turner going again because he fucking owes Anderson.
Yeah, he does. But yeah, so the offense, if the offense kind of figures it out, gets going, we all know that team's gonna be right there. Bauer struggled with his outing. Kind of really the only starting pitcher after Kershaw came out and had his good one. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping they're gonna keep it going. A win tonight would be great. All-star voting, to give you guys an update for those of you who do pay attention. Muncie is currently in first place for first base. Love you, Lux, but I'm not sure how he's in third place right now for second. But I guess Dodger fan base, keep doing your thing. Turner's in third at third base.
Make this a Cubs thing. Just vote in Mookie, vote in Seager, vote in Turner.
I mean, they're all literally right now making the All-Star game. Turner's third at third base, Seager's third at shortstop, Betts is fourth in the outfield, Taylor's sixth in the outfield, and Smith not there yet. He needs to be top 3, I think. He is in the 4th, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him up there by next Sunday. No, they do the updates on Mondays, so we'll have a new update next Monday.
I will say this. The only position players that should be All-Stars are Muncie and Taylor.
Those are the only Dodgers I vote for.
But since all the Cubs fans want to vote in their weak-ass players, vote in ours. I don't care.
It's how fan voting, until they get rid of fan voting, it's how it's going to be. Because if you look at, like, the players, it's really based on what teams are doing well and which fan bases are showing up. It's how it's always been, and it's how it's always going to be. The guys that really deserve it will be at the top. Like Vladdy is obviously first.
Well, he's been the best hitter in baseball.
Yeah, and he's obviously up there. Trout first in outfield. Like, it's all guys. But it bums me out because someone like Jazz Chisholm Jr. isn't even top 3 at second base, and he 100% should be. And like that kind of bums me out. That
who's first?
Second base first. Good question. I don't know, but no, I don't think it was him. But like that's what kind of bugged me a bit with the voting, is guys like Jazz Chisholm, who in my opinion does deserve to be up there, doesn't have necessarily the fan base to get him there. Yeah. And so like that bums me out a little bit. But I guess it's just part of it. Like, I've been voting for Jazz the whole time. Second base, number 1 is Albies, which again is a fan base thing, because he's having an all right year, but he's definitely not having the best year out of second baseman. And then you have Frazier at second and Lux at third. So
Adam Frazier, I mean, he's having a great year, but
yeah, but I'm surprised I mean, he probably he probably makes it anyways, because every team has to have a representative. But like, to see Chisholm,
but he's also been great, for being honest. He's been really good.
No, he has been. He's been fantastic. He deserves to be up there. But like, it bums me out seeing Chisholm like not even in the top 3, because I'm like, damn, like second base is not a strong position at all. And like,
so here's the thing. I usually don't vote, but this time, just because the Cubs irritate me, I'm gonna vote all Dodgers. But that's
what most Dodger fans are doing.
Oh yeah, but for the most part, I actually am gonna vote, and I'll probably put Jazz in a lot of them, just because I like Jazz. And Jazz
is been my second base vote. I usually only vote for like Vladdy, Jazz, and like Taylor, and that's like about it. And then Ohtani, because I think Ohtani needs to be there.
He better be there.
Yeah, he's first right now in DH. So like Chris Bryant is leading third baseman, which I think he should. That's fair. Devers over on the AL leading third baseman, which is probably fair looking at their numbers. Second base on the AL is Simeon, which is more than deserved, because that guy is just freaking tearing it up. Vladdy.
Hey guys, remember you said Marcus Simeon was ass, and you guys were all looking at me like, why the hell we want to get Simeon? You're welcome.
Yeah, he's absolutely killing it right now. Like, Jose Abreu in second place with a 258 batting average and 800 OPS is kind of like that's the kind of stuff that I'm
Who's
like.
In first?
Vladdy for first base.
Oh, obviously, yes.
Yeah, he deserves that. There's no doubt about 100%. That at all. And then you've got for third base.
Who's the second best second baseman?
Second is Frazier. Oh, for AL?
First base. For first base, because you said Vladdy's first, who was second? I mean,
Abreu.
Abreu second, but like
it should be Gurriel. It should be Gurriel. But like, I don't give a shit. Yeah, but I don't give a shit.
Oh, no. It's Jose Abreu.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't
yeah, I don't
acknowledge
care.
any of
That's
those.
fine.
Yeah.
So I don't care about that. But third base, like they've got Bregman at third, not sure. That's
Yeah.
definitely not deserving with that
No.
803 OPS. And then in the
Well, I
out,
mean, I think the league average OPS is like 700, so
yeah,
they're
okay,
doing
that's
well.
fair. Tatis
Yeah,
is understandably so leading the National League in shortstops as he should.
obviously.
Bogarts is leading shortstops as he should for the AL. Uh,
Oh, he's
Bichette,
still hitting very well.
yeah, he's got a 320
I know
batting average.
his defense is kind of.
Yeah, his defense is not good, but he's got a 320 batting average and a 932 OPS.
Yeesh. Yeah, sure.
And then you got Bichette at second and Tim Anderson at third, which if you look at their OPS, those are probably where they
The
should
top
be.
three. Yeah.
Baez, second base. Cubs fans, fuck off. Baez with his 735 OPS and 235 batting average. Get out of here.
It's just because he doesn't walk.
Brandon Crawford out here with like a revenge story isn't even in the top three.
Good.
And then you have first base, Salvador Perez, 100% deserves
Huh?
it. Yeah, Salvi, he's having a great
First
year.
base?
No, first place for catchers.
Oh, I think he said first base.
No.
I was like, wait, what? Okay.
No, and then you've
That makes
got
sense.
Buster Posey, who deserves it because he's just freaking destroying it right now.
I mean, yes, he does deserve it, but since he's a
yeah,
giant.
he's a giant. And then you got Molina in second, and Contreras third, and Smith is sitting at fourth, even though Smith's numbers are better than Contreras and better than Yachty. And then in the outfield for the NL, we've got first place with Acuna, second place with Castellanos, third place Winker, fourth place is,
I think those three deserve it, if we're being honest.
definitely. Fourth place is Betts, which is all Dodger fans. Fifth
Good.
place Soto, sixth place Taylor, seventh place Harper, eighth place Grisham, and ninth place Ketel Marte. Most of those probably deserving number wise. I don't know how Tyler O'Neill is not in there with a 960 OPS and a 291 batting average. That's tough to not be in there.
Dude's good, yeah.
And then in the AL, you of course have Trout leading, who hasn't even played for a month, and probably won't play for another month.
But for being honest, his month was his best month of his career, so which is crazy.
And
Doesn't
then you've
make
got
sense.
Judge in second, Buxton in third. Same thing. Buxton hasn't played in forever, but he's doing rehab assignments, so he should be back.
I didn't know he was hurt.
Oh, Buxton's been out for like a month and a half, like a month.
Always hurt, man.
Yeah,
but
he's doing rehab
him
assignments.
And Judge.
And so when he was killing it. He's 370 with a 1100, almost a 1200 OPS, which is insane.
He finally put it all together.
And then at fourth, you have Adolis Garcia, which is pretty deserving. Fifth, Tio Oscar Hernandez.
Rangers?
Yeah, he's having a good year. Yeah, 270.
I know he's having a good year.
Yeah, there's fan base is showing up, or baseball just likes him because he's doing good. Teoscar Hernandez with a 295, 831 OPS, so that is deserving. Randall Grichuk, that's just a fan base thing because he's batting like 269 with a 785 OPS. It's
not terrible, but again, 700, so it's still pretty good.
And then Verdugo in at seventh, and then you've got Rosa Reyna in at eighth, which probably is not all that deserving with a 264 batting average and a 774 OPS. And then finishing it off is Michael Brantley, who probably deserves to be higher, but he plays for the Astros, even though he wasn't part of the cheating scandal. I think people still lump him in. And then you got Shohei Ohtani leading the DH with Martinez behind him and Yordan Alvarez. So that is all-star voting.
Martinez?
JD.
Oh, goddamn. So stupid.
That is your all-star voting. So make sure you get those votes in for the Dodgers. The phase 1 ends on June 24th. And that is where I think they take the...
When's the all-star break?
July 15th, that week.
Oh.
And then finalists will be announced on June 27th, and then phase 2 voting will begin, and you will vote from the finalists as to who you want to see as starters. So go to MLB.com/all-star/ballot and get your votes in.
Please vote for Taylor and Muncy, guys.
Yes, Taylor definitely, Muncy absolutely. I would love to get Taylor in there before he maybe would leave during free agency, because that dude
also vote for Kenley
the
Jansen.
bag. Yeah, no votings for pitchers yet. That's usually either I think that's usually coaches or something, which I kind of get, because that that, or I think we get to vote on like some of them once, but they're not in the first round of voting. But yes, Jansen would absolutely deserve.
So how would you like to see the all-stars being selected? By peers and coaches, or
I would like to see fan voting, but like we only get like 20 or 30% of the say. Like
okay.
we should not, like I do think you need to have fan voting. I think it's fun. I think it's good for the sport and it keeps fans interested, but we should not
Engaged,
have
yeah.
like we are basically the final say as to who, not the final say, but we are like, we get to decide the finalists. And I don't necessarily like that. I think
Yeah.
it should be off peer voting and statistics. I would
Okay.
be okay with the players voting because I think if you just make it a rule, like you don't vote for your own team, you're kind of forcing them to pick the best players versus where like it's just a popularity contest. Like I said, Jazz Chisholm probably deserves to be top 3, but he's got a small market fan base. But then again, every team has to have a representative. However, I would think their pitcher Rogers would get it over Chisholm
Yeah.
because he's absolutely
Probably.
dominating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to see the fans get like a 20 to 30%
What are
say.
Jazz's numbers? I mean, I guess I could just look at my he's on my team. I just haven't looked at my fantasy team in a while.
He's struggled a bit since coming back from his injury, but I still think it's enough that you could argue. He's got a 278 batting average, 8 home runs, 24 RBIs, and an 826 OPS.
That's good enough.
Yeah, and I think he's good for baseball. It's guys like that that you want at the All-Star game that are good for baseball. So I know that's not the only thing that should get them there, but get those votes.
He's good
in.
and he's got a lot of energy and he's fun. Those matter.
And I would love to see him hit a home run in Coors because he crushes baseballs. And he would probably hit one very far at Coors Field.
I mean, you say he has 8 home runs?
Yeah.
That's not bad. It's pretty good.
Yeah. So that's for the All-Star game. Quick injury update on Corey Seager. He is expected to take batting practice this week. He will start in the cage and then make his way. Thank you, Siri, for interrupting that. He's expected to take batting practice this week. He'll start in the cage and then make his way to taking BP on the field. And so kind of getting there. Haven't heard much on really any of the other guys. And then this
I do want to say Joe Davis last night had said that against righties, Lux is hitting 280 with an OPS over 800. So now I think in the long run he'll end up hitting lefties decently, but for now, for this season, once Seager comes back,
there might be a little bit of a platoon.
Lux hits against lefties and then plays against righties because
and you'll see Taylor
righties just fine. Yeah,
you'll see Taylor in there playing second. Yeah,
I'll be good with that.
Yeah. And then for our series look ahead, you were spot on with the predictions last week. I went 5-2, you went 6-1, and they ended up going 6-1. So tonight we have Urias versus Eflin. Tomorrow, maybe a little bit of a tougher game. Kershaw versus Wheeler. Wheeler has a 2.29 ERA. Thursday is an off day, and then we head to Arizona to start a series. Diamondbacks are currently on an 11-game losing streak. They have not won a road game. We will be playing them at home. So not really all that relevant, but they haven't won a road game since I think Madison Bumgarner's seven inning no hitter, and they have the worst record in baseball at 20-47. So the MLB app has to be decided for all of the pitchers, but I just put them in order because now that we have Gonsolin back, we should know our starting rotation. So we should have Bauer on the mound Friday, Buehler on the mound Saturday, and Gonsolin on Sunday. And then the Dodgers head to the Padres for a 3-game, I think it's a 3-game series, but Monday it should be Urias on the mound. That should be a great series. I'm liking our chances at taking tonight's game. Tomorrow, I'm not feeling too good. We should sweep the D-backs, and the Padres have not been playing good baseball. They have not won a series in their last 3 or 4 series. So honestly, I'm really only expecting maybe 1 win or 1 loss over the next week. So 1, 2, 3, 4,
6
5.
games?
Yeah, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So I'm going to go with 5-1. It could, the Diamondbacks, you never really know just because the Dodgers sometimes play really well there and play really shitty there. It just kind of depends. But Wheeler's kind of my really only question that I'm a little hesitant on.
I don't want to, I know you said I have to be positive. So
I would say 4-2 might be more likely, but I'm going to go with 5-1. I feel like this team's got to start going at some point.
I think they're playing decently, but for whatever reason, I'm not feeling these stretch of games. So my initial thought was 3-3. But
which I wouldn't hate, because if they're on the road, just get me a series win and I will take it. I don't need the sweep against the Diamondbacks, so 3-3 wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. It would just mean that we're losing 1 series, which I'm not a fan of. But granted, it's baseball, so that's how life works.
Yeah, so
I'm gonna go with 5-1 just because fuck it, why not? I don't know why. There might not be much, but I don't see Bauer. Bauer might be the only concern in Arizona, just because that ball flies there. But I could see Wheeler being a problem for us tomorrow night.
He might be. He probably will be. But I don't know. The Dodgers hit right as well. I think Wheeler throws a lot of fastballs. I have to look, but I'll go 4-2. I think I feel comfortable at 4-2. I'm excited because I'm a little homer here because we all know that I'm a Lux fan. Lux didn't play against the Padres last time, so I'm excited to see how he does this time.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that series. I'm heading out for probably Wednesday's game for the series finale against.
We're gonna see Ryan Weathers again, aren't we?
Probably.
Like that.
Yeah, he's good.
God.
Yeah, we'll probably see him. I don't know who they have set up. I did not go through to look through their pitchers, and unfortunately, the MLB app did not have it.
Actually, Lux probably sits against the lefties because he's been sitting the last few games. If it's gonna be Weathers and Snail, that's 2 out of 3 games.
Yeah, but Snell sucks this year, so I'd let Lux
it's still
take
a
his
lefty
chances, see what happens.
Who can't hit apparently all the time. Anyway,
but
4-2. I think we're gonna. I keep saying this, but so one of my predictions was the second half of the season, Mookie Betts was gonna hit like 340. Crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just think his swing is getting better, and the more comfortable he gets, it's going to be a problem for the rest of the league, and we know he can string hits together. So that was one of my predictions. I mean, obviously the second half doesn't start for like another month. I thought it was coming up 2 weeks. This is why I had my predictions all ready to go. So I think he's going to get it going very, very soon. And the whole second half, the 2 months or whatever it is, it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, I think Mookie, once he gets going, the rest of the team follows suit. It'll be nice to have Seager back, hopefully Muncy, and hopefully Bellinger doesn't have to go to the IL. But yeah, Mookie will get it going soon, and then this team will take off. That was it for this week. You want to finish us up with minor league minute?
Gonna go quickly to the minor leagues. So Kyber Ruiz, who's the Dodgers' #1 prospect according to MB Pipeline, went 5 for 16 this week. It's a .313 average. 4 of those 5 hits were indeed home runs, though, and he also drove in 6. So I think Kyber saw all the praise Cartaya was getting. It was like, hey guys, I can hit too. Bobby Miller, the Dodgers' #5, pitched 1 game this week, going 3 2/3 innings, giving up 1 hit, striking out 3. On the season, he has an ERA of 1 and a whip of 0.78, 20 strikeouts and only 2 earned runs. Hasn't pitched much, but when he has pitched, he's been absolutely fantastic. Andy Page was 6 for 20, 300 batting average, 3 doubles, a home run, 4 RBIs. Also walked 5 times, which is really good for him because he's not really a person that walks out that much. So another strong week for Page, who has seemed to find his rhythm after a slow start. Miguel Vargas is the Dodgers' #11. He broke the Loons hit streak record. He now sits alone at 26 straight games. He didn't have a hit in his last 3 games of the week, but still to break a record is really good, and to hit in 26 straight is incredible. So congrats to Vargas. He's been absolutely killing it this year for the Loons. Dodgers #7, Ryan Pepiot, went 5 innings in his lone start, gave up no hits, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts, lowering his season ERA to 1.64. He's also got 33 strikeouts and 22 innings of work. So despite most pitchers being played slow, I wouldn't be surprised to see Pepiot get called up to AAA pretty soon. He's showing why he's a Dodgers #7. Diego Cartaya went 4 for 15, 267. He did have another home run, and he drove in 7, so he made the hits count. I don't think he's long for Rancho. I imagine he's going to be in Great Lakes soon catching Bobby Miller, so I can't wait to watch that.
Yeah, that'll be exciting. We don't have any type of update on Gray, do we? He's injured, right?
I looked, and the only thing I saw was like 2 weeks ago where Dave Roberts said that Gray was going to get called up, but he got hurt. Okay. So he hasn't pitched since that 1 game in May, and it's sad. I don't like it.
Yeah, that's unfortunate because he's someone who maybe would have been called up for some bullpen work at some point if they needed him. But yeah, that's a bummer there. Big fan of his on this podcast. But other than that, that was all we had for this week. As always, we appreciate you guys tuning in, checking out, sharing the podcast with your friends, leaving those ratings, reviews. Make sure to follow, subscribe, and then you can find us on social at Dodger Yard on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. And you can find me at Randy_Radcliffe on IG and Twitter.
And you can go to allmylinks.com/Konu, KONU, and find my social medias on there.
And then Ray will have the MLB news for you guys by the time you listen to this. He will add all of that in.
Wrapping up with the MLB news, obviously we have the MLB foreign substance memo that came out today. Randy mentioned it earlier. There will be 10-game paid suspensions with no replacement player if a player is caught. Umpires are going to be required to check every pitcher during the game, starters at least twice a game, and always in between innings because, Manfred wants to keep his pace of play. And every reliever that comes in once they're finished with an inning or they come out of the ball game, they will be checked by the umpires. Any position players that are supposedly aiding the pitcher will also be implemented should they be caught. Any catcher or position player will also be ejected and suspended if they are determined to be aiding the pitcher, and I'm not sure how this works with the rules that they are allowed to have it for themselves. We'll see how that plays out. And MLB also outlined exactly what they are going to test for. It is everything. Sunscreen and rosin to spider tack, all of it. All of that will be considered foreign substances, and this crackdown will go into effect on June 21st. That is next Monday. Going to wrap it up with a bunch of injury news. A lot of pitchers are going down right now. Tyler Glasnow is in the IL. He has a partial UCL tear. He is not going to go for Tommy John right now. They're opting for rehab. I think probably the bigger part of the story is that he blames having to grip the ball harder due to MLB's crackdown on foreign substances for his injury. And the anatomists, or I don't know, biomechanists, I don't know what these people are, but it tracks. Gripping the ball harder does lead to maybe a more vulnerable UCL. So that's interesting. That's fun. That's always fun when people are calling that MLB. Another top pitcher, reigning AL Cy Young winner Shane Bieber, is on the 10-day IL with a shoulder strain. He will be shut down for 2 weeks before starting any kind of rehab assignment. Max Scherzer is also on the 10-day IL with groin inflammation. He left his last start against the Giants after only an inning. That move is retroactive to June 12th. Sonny Gray of the Reds is also on the 10-day IL with a groin strain. No real word on a timeline for that. Jacob deGrom exited his last start with right flexor tightness. The MRI came back clean. He feels fine. He is expected to be all systems go for now. And the last bit of injury news, we move to position player. Nick Madrigal of the Chicago White Sox is out for the year with a right hamstring tear. That's all the MLB news for this week. You can follow me on Twitter at Stingray417.
So as always, we hope you guys have a good rest of your morning, night, afternoon, weekend, weekday, whenever it is you listen to this. Go Dodgers. Let's get those wins and keep trying to play a little bit better baseball. They're getting there. Eventually this team is going to go on a tear, and it would be nice if it started coming in the summer with that hot weather and the ball starts flying out a bit. So we will catch you guys next week, and have a good rest of your day. See you later, guys.
Bye, guys.